I'm Niamh Cassidy, a former social care worker who, after having my own children, found a calling as a childbirth educator and lactation consultant. Back when I started this journey, I faced the same challenges many of you might be experiencing right now, struggling to get enough clients to make my business viable long term. I knew in my heart that I had the skills and knowledge to make a difference, but the thought of marketing and selling left me feeling a bit uneasy. I didn't want to compromise my authenticity and values just to attract clients. I invested in trainings and mentorships, and I tried various strategies that I learned, but it often felt like I couldn't implement a lot of it because what I was being taught didn't match my values as a birth and postpartum worker. That's when I decided to take matters into my own hand. I embarked on a mission to learn, to experiment, and to find ethical and authentic ways to share my expertise, support my clients, and build a sustainable practice. Today, I'm proud to say that I run a thriving private practice, and I'm here to share my insights with all of you to help you to do the same. Join me on this journey as I help you bridge the gap between your passion for supporting new parents and the success you deserve. Together, we'll discover the power of ethical, authentic, and effective approaches, not only to make a living, but also to make a positive impact in the world of birth and postnatal care. Let's get started on this empowering journey together. Hello to all my fabulous listeners. Welcome back to the Pregnancy and Postnatal Entrepreneurs Collective podcast. I'm Niamh Cassidy, your cheerleader for all things pregnancy, postnatal, and business. Today, we're diving into a topic that's all about nurturing the amazing bond between you and your clients and turning them into your biggest advocates. We all know the value of word of mouth referrals. So let's make sure that every single one of your clients is passing your name on to a friend or family member. The first thing for me that's really important in helping our clients become awesome advocates is to make sure that we have a really, really effortless, easy booking experience. Because when it comes to creating raving fans out of these clients, first impressions really are key. So how can we make it smooth sailing for your clients to book your services? The first thing, I suppose, is to have a really simple booking process. The fewer hoops people have to jump through to get your service, the less stress they're going to have in working with you, and the more likely they are to finish that process of booking as well. I remember when I first started out, both as an antenatal teacher and as a lactation consultant, that I was doing all of my bookings via email. So when I was teaching classes, because I was teaching so few, it probably wasn't that complicated for me. So I would put out the information about the class, people would send me an email to say they were interested, and then I would let them know how to pay and what forms that they had to fill in or answer any questions that they had. But when I started taking lactation clients, the frequency of those level of emails, I myself, never mind the clients, found really hard to manage. So people would email me to see if I had availability. I would write back with my availability. They would write back to say whether that worked or not. Then we'd have to arrange forms and payments. And it was a really long, complicated process in this digital age where people are used to just going online, booking something, and the job is done. So if you don't already have some sort of a digital booking system, I would highly encourage you to look into that option of getting something where people can book directly with you without having to have too much of a back and forth communication, because that can be very stressful for clients, in particular if you provide services that people might want today or tomorrow or in the next week. So like lactation consultancy services or postnatal doula services, anything where you're going out frequently and where people might want to book instantly. I cannot tell you how many bookings I get at 2 a.m. and at 4 a.m. in the morning. I am never surprised when I wake up to text messages from my booking system to say that a client has booked to see me. So you can imagine, you probably remember yourself if you have any babies, you're up late at night, you're scrolling on your phone and you're thinking, I need some help with something. And if that person can then get that help booked in straight away, they're much more likely to do that. Then if they have to send an email, they may not want to email at 4 o'clock in the morning. They're certainly not going to want to text or ring you at 4 o'clock in the morning. So being able to book that straight away is really, really helpful for clients. So once they have booked, we want to make sure that all of our communication is clear and compassionate with that person, that they know what to expect and they know what's coming next. So if you are using a digital booking system, that there is some level of automation that as soon as they book, they get a confirmation that that has been booked and any next steps they are to take or what the next steps from you will be. So we want to have some level of auto replies set up so that people know that that booking has been successful and they also know what's going to happen next. We don't want to leave it with auto replies and then just turn up in their house either. So it will always be really good that after they have gotten those auto replies, that a couple of days out or the day before you are there to deliver the service, that you do write a personalized email or message or phone call to them to remind them that you're coming, any other expectations that they might have or anything that they might need to do beforehand or whatever it might be. So any sort of next steps that they understand what's going to happen. There's nothing worse than booking a service and then not knowing how it works. So, for example, with my childbirth education classes, every person who books about a week out from the class will get an email talking through the process of what's going to happen on the day, the parking arrangements, the break arrangements, whether there is access to food and coffee on site, and everything that they might be thinking in their head. I wonder what's going to happen. So it's really important that people have that level of information before you reply. And then for my lactation clients, when they're filling in their intake form, there's also information on that for them to let them know that what time I'll turn up at, and that it might be either side of that appointment time, depending on traffic, to let them know what is expected around them and the baby. So whether they should hold off feeding the baby for a period of time before I arrive, and everything that they just might need to know for when I arrive so that they feel comfortable and that they're not worried or anxious about what's going to happen next. In these early communications before we meet the person, if they've given us any details, the name of the baby or the name of their partner or anything like that, when we are sending that personalized email, it can be really nice to include those other people's names. So, hi Mary, I'm really looking forward to meeting you and John tomorrow, or whatever it might be. So they know that we have actually read the information that they've sent us and that we are prepared to meet them as human beings and not just as a next appointment. Which brings us into the next part of turning our clients into awesome advocates, which is to make sure that when we are providing that service to them, that we've done our homework, that we have read our intake forms or our booking forms, that we know the information that they've given us before we meet them. We've all been there. You turn up at a doctor's office, you have had to fill in forms beforehand, they've all gone in, and yet you are still asked the same questions and why you are there. And that can feel really overwhelming when you've spent some time filling in lots and lots of information to then feel that your care provider has no idea who you are or what's going on for you, and that filling in that information was a waste of time. So it's really helpful to make sure that you are up to date with everything that of information that your client has given you already, and that you can show that to them, that they know that you understand the situation that is being presented for them already. Sometimes we need more information on what they've given. So it's important that when we do need more information, that we acknowledge the information they have given us already and then ask for further details. So with a postnatal lactation client, for example, that might be for me, hi, I know you gave me the information on your birth. I might repeat some of that information that I had been given, but could you give me a little bit more detail in your own words about how that came about? or about what happened afterwards. So we're acknowledging that we read the information that they gave us, but that we would now like a little bit more detail so that we can help improve the care that we are going to provide. If you are teaching one-to-one classes, tailoring that class for those specific needs of the parents who you are meeting is also important and also can feel really valuable for the client. So, say, for example, I teach one-to-one childbirth education classes. I personally always use PowerPoint to assist me with that and to help visual learners learn as well. So, I will bring my laptop, but I tailor every single PowerPoint presentation to the couple. So the first page will have their name on it. And then if I'm talking about hospital policies or things that happen in different parts of the country, I will always have gotten the statistics from the hospital that they are attending so that they know that this class is for them and not for everyone. They feel looked after, they feel cared for, and they are more likely to refer me to a friend. The next really nice thing to do for your clients to help them feel loved and cared for, but also to help in this process of turning them into amazing advocates, is to provide small treats that give big delights. So, everyone loves a little sprinkle of joy, and you can be as creative with this as you like. So, if you bake and you're teaching an antenatal class, then maybe you'll bring some freshly baked goods. Or if you're going to visit a client, maybe you'd bring a bun or something that you've baked for them. If you're not a baker, but you're creative, then I have seen some lovely situations from business clients of mine who create little stones for their childbirth education class participants. So they will collect some stones from the beach, they might paint them, and then they might put a little word of encouragement, or depending on how big the stone is, maybe a quote or an affirmation. So that's a really nice one to do as well. What I like to do is send my clients a card. So I buy in cards from a local artist who does a lot of pregnancy and breastfeeding artwork. And then I will either give them a little card at the end of the session if it's in person, or I might post it to them afterwards as well. It can be really nice to send Christmas cards or birthday cards as well for the babies. Just anything that you can think of that might be a nice little treat that you can do. It doesn't have to cost anything. So, for example, the stones don't have to cost anything if you have baking goods already and it's not going to be a huge cost. Or I've also done something where I've printed off affirmation cards and laminated them and given them out at childbirth education classes as well. So any little touches that you can do can really resonate with clients so that they feel really, really cared for, and they will remember that. There's that saying that we might not remember the words that people say to us, but we will remember how they make us feel. I think it's Maya Angelou, and I'm not quoting it very specifically, but that's the gist, that we might not always remember the words that someone says to us, but we will remember how they made us feel. And what we want is we want our clients to feel amazing, to feel loved, to feel cared for. And those clients are much more likely to become our advocates in the future. The next thing we're going to look at is the follow up and the feedback. So, as part of the communication that we spoke about earlier, so that pre communication, we also want to really, really focus that our follow up communication is really clear. So, if we're meeting with a family, that before we leave that meeting, that we tell them what's going to happen next and what they can expect. So they're not left wondering, how can they contact us? Are they allowed to contact us? Whatever it might be, that they know what's going to happen next. Or if we're teaching a class, that they know what's going to happen next. Are they going to get an email with some notes? Are they allowed to reply with any questions that they might have later? So letting people know really, really clearly what they can expect to happen next, doing that verbally in person while we're with them, and then following that up with some level of digital communication. So I mainly use email through my client portal. So I will always then send an afterwards email reiterating what is expected, what they can expect for their follow-up, and what happens next if we have an ongoing relationship. We can also use this communication to ask for feedback, or we can wait until our relationship with our client is completely finished. So if we are a birth doula or a postnatal doula that's going to be working with a client for a period of time, then getting that feedback at a later date might be more beneficial. Feedback will be more honest if we ask for anonymously. So having a survey where we send out to all clients that they don't have to put their name on, asking for feedback so that we can improve our services is really, really important, because the more we improve our services, the more our next clients are likely to become our advocates as well and feel more loved and cared for by us. Feedback is a tool for growth. It's how we get better at what we do. And it's important that we know the good parts of what we do and maybe the not so good parts of what we do as well. And the final thing to do is to ask directly for reviews. So, for clients that you've worked with where you are fairly confident that they have had a really, really positive experience, ask for a review or a testimonial. Do it verbally, in person, on your last appointment with them. If you have enjoyed my services, if you have found them helpful, I would be truly honoured if you would complete a testimonial for me, or if you would write me a Google review, or whatever way it is that you want to collect your reviews, or if you would record a little video for me talking about the service that I provided for you and if it was beneficial. So giving our clients the opportunity, but asking them directly to do it as well and making it easy. So if we're looking for a Google review, making sure we send them the accurate link and it's just really uncomplicated for them to send that review. And then we can use those reviews ourselves as advocacy. And the other thing is that once a client has sat down to write that review, they have really thought about and processed the support that you have given them. So the next time they go to talk about you, it'll be much easier for them to explain the support and the benefits of your service because they've already written it down once. So there you have it. There are a number of steps that we can do to ensure that our clients become our awesome advocates, because once again, word of mouth is key for referrals in our industry. And remembering it's those little things that help us build lasting connections, from stress-free booking to heartfelt gestures. It's all about making their journey with you memorable. Thank you for joining me in this really fun episode of the Pregnancy and Postnatal Entrepreneurs Collective podcast. Until next time, keep building your business and creating advocates who sing your praises. Bye for now. Don't forget to download your totally free copy of the Birth Workers Business Playbook, now available for a limited time only. So check out the show notes to get your link and get your copy.